back with Dave Farina. We just watched his short film called The Deviant, which is a 29-minute autobiographical film exploring his personal first forays into polyamorous behavior. So what inspired you to actually put yourself on film, to write this script?
I mean, it's not... Basically what had happened was I had written 2 feature films, and I sort of in a very naive way just thought, oh, upon writing my first film and then upon writing my second film, I just thought, oh, I'm gonna give this to somebody and then everything's gonna work out. And just as with that and as with music and any other art form, it just doesn't work that way. So I realized after that I was gonna have to make a film in order to get anybody to know anything about me. And so I knew that number 1, it had to be a short film. Number 2, it really had to star mostly me and very few other people, because even wrangling those small handful of other actors for free and just a couple of times I needed them was really difficult. It was really hard to lock down those locations, and so I knew, I luckily had the foresight to know that I had to basically feature myself, because I will always be available when I want me to be available. So I reflected for a while and I decided that it would have to be I was very into shows like Louis and some other shows that were very candid, and I just said, well, I'm going to write about myself. And at that moment, I was really just starting to go through these things and thinking, what is this? I think I want it. How do I do this? What are the steps I need to take? And so I sort of sifted through some experiences and relationships I'd had in the past year or so. Maybe a little more than a year, and sort of whittled it down to 3 pillars that represented 3 unique things, and wrote about that. So,
I think Louis is a special idol for you, considering what you've done.
Yeah, I even ripped off his font, I think, from his show over the time. I did, actually. I don't think I did. I did.
Do you think you're detached?
I think I'm a hair detached more than most people. Yeah.
Most men or most women?
I mean, certainly most women, but probably then a lot of men as well. Oh, he doesn't like. He thinks that's a sexist remark. In keeping with the theme of the film, Truth was my beacon. The therapist character was, in actuality, my therapist. I went to him, I said, I wrote this film, do you want to play yourself? The university is the university I taught at. I went back and filmed in there. The lab that I was working in was the graduate lab I was doing research in. The characters very specifically are representing people that were real. I mean, just all of it. I mean, obviously the vast majority of the dialogue was made up, but I did, lift a couple of key phrases that were spoken to me, and they resonated with me, and I put them in there, and I wanted to be utterly truthful, because also I'm just not really that good an actor, so I really can only play myself. But really, honestly, it's tough, because now my memory is a little bit skewed between what I've written and what has happened. So if you're referring to that, one of the scene towards the end, something very vaguely resembling that conversation happened, and I definitely wrote the dialogue.
What the fuck, Dave?
In memory of that, yeah.
Oh, God, what the fuck, Dave? Am I in it? Dave.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was sort of...
Am I in it? Is this in it right now? Is this part of your next film?
It is. It's yet another, another chapter. No, I don't know. Yeah, much of it, or all of it, is inspired by real people. Almost all of the dialogue is made up, but there is more than zero similarity to real events. Yeah. Feel that a good chunk of the dialogue was my defense for what I wanted, but yeah, I think the imagery. I mean, yeah,
but it wasn't a moral defense. It didn't feel like you were trying to say this is a moral way to live and this is why it all works.
Well, I just say I didn't even bring morality into it because I don't think that it enters into it. But but you mentioned the imagery of the morphing girls. I deliberately used that to juxtapose what I was saying at that moment, because what I was saying was something to the effect of understanding how everyone is different, and it is okay to be interested in different people in different ways, but combining that with the imagery of 4 girls that you know nothing about.
Without
and
their faces showing.
Right. I mean, their faces are, well, it's somewhat visible, but I did that on purpose as kind of a thing of like, you don't know a goddamn thing about any, well, the first one was one of the characters in the film, and then the other 3 were not. And it was on purpose, just like, you have no idea. You have no idea what my attachment is to these girls. It could be substantive, it could be not. Who cares?
It's very great.
Doesn't matter, you know?
It also shows your flexibility as opposed to you knowing, I am polyamorous, period. This is my sexuality. I'll be this for life. Throughout the film, you question that, as many people do in different eras of their life.
But as I said at the beginning, honestly, that is the one thing that is not true about it. Everything is very autobiographical, but I knew I was making a film, and if I had any hope of anybody giving a shit about it, like, I had to adhere to some semblance of a character arc or something. So I had to, like, the Quinn character was a student I had, and was somebody that I was very interested in, and she represents sort of the lust pillar. It's kind of that thing where she's a little bit mysterious. You don't really know what she's doing, and I, in fact, even went so far as to insert some awkward pauses in the dialogue to show that this is not the intellectual stimulation pillar. This is not the Natalie character who's calling me out on my shit, is to some extent my muse, is making me think critically about things. It's just that stranger passing through town. What are they all about? I need to know about it, you know?
But you're so into her that you even question maybe you'd be in.
But that's the part that's not true, is what I'm saying. That's the only thing in the film that's not true. I was very into her, and I wanted to see her more than the 2 times or so that I saw her, but I did not have those thoughts. That's the character arc that I injected into the film erroneously, because you can't, I mean, it's a film. There has to be character arc. So that's the only thing in the film that it's just not true.
This other person is just so intense on so many levels. Maybe I don't even need all this nonsense. And then someone else comes in that's intense.
It's ephemeral for me, you know, definitely. Yeah, it's the difference between having intense feelings for somebody, which I did for this girl that I knew very briefly, but that's not the same thing as saying no one else ever.
Yeah, no one else ever.
That never has. If I'm being honest, that has never crossed my mind ever, even when I was engaging in monogamous relationships, and it was sort of my dirty little secret, you know. You know, you've always been just a step ahead of me in terms of your relationship paradigm and what you're trying to do, and you probably more than anyone I can think of have been someone that said, look, this is something I'm interested in, this is something that you can have, and that you just need to go for it. And you know, I wrote this about a year ago about events approximately the year prior, so it is fairly recent. You definitely were and still are ahead of me, definitely.
Well, I remember when we met and I was telling you what I was up to among these things. You were in utter disbelief that it was possible. You were like, really? What? No.
Well, yeah. I mean, there were aspects of it, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% identified with everything you said, and I definitely believed that it could be done. But when you described the specifics of it, I couldn't just. I just kind of thought, women aren't on board with this. But that's because of the relationships I had to that point, and just allowing myself to confirm all those things, you know, without, you know, or just implicitly playing along with this script and not shaking it up, not out of my own accord saying, hey, no, I want this other thing. This is what I want now, and not just playing along with what everybody thinks is supposed to be going on. So. So basically, the Karen character, the one at the beginning and the end, is based on someone who I continue to see and have seen for a while, and the relationship has developed quite a bit. And she is not polyamorous, and she does not see anyone else. And she knows very well that she is free to do so, and doesn't need to do that or want to do that. And so, you know, my friends kind of tease me, and it's like this you know, flawless situation. I mean, but it's not. That's not what I was aiming for.
It's not flawless though, because that creates a little stress in your relationship, that imbalance.
Well, you'd think it would, and without knowing her, it's almost impossible not to see how that would be that way. And almost anybody that I try to explain my relationship with her to just says, nope, that's not real. There's something you're not telling me. There's something that's out of place.
Yeah.
And I try to explain, you don't understand. She has achieved some level of Zen where she can love me unconditionally. This is absolutely true, without trying to. How many fires are there tonight?
There's always fires in
This is the
downtown.
fourth fire in
This
20
is
minutes.
downtown LA. This shit is annoying, but it happens.
but no,
you know, it's so inconvenient that their house is burning down
Unbelievable.
while I'm trying to converse
I'm trying to
here,
talk about my art.
and they're burning.
No, but the fact of the matter is that I have been so unbelievably fortunate to find somebody that loves me unconditionally and without control and without trying to put boundaries. She simply loves me, and that's astonishing to me, and it has inspired me so much. And in fact, my affection for her has grown tremendously as a result of that, and her giving me that. So.
That acceptance is such a huge gift. That's how I feel love.
It's changed me.
Yeah. I mean, it does. When you can just be like, here's my everything. You still love me?
Yeah,
Huh?
It's the first time I feel truly seen by somebody, because I'm really telling you that this is what I want and this is how I'm going to compart myself. And she came back with, well, you know, I love you, and we continue to communicate about it when necessary, and it just is never shaken.